What's up everyone, it is Sam here from Sam and Gino, and today I'm going to be talking about two different kind of topics and like how we've kind of come across them and how we've dealt with them. So the first thing is like connecting like kind of across borders and meeting with new people, and secondly is like the budget brilliance and some things you can do to kind of save money, and also the like kind of what it's like if you were like solo traveling. I know we're not like solo traveling, but I can kind of give an insight to what it is like and what it is like in different countries. So yeah, firstly, like I'm gonna just start with like breaking the ice and meeting new people. Like was very hard in Europe, and it was hard in Japan and Korea as well. It was So it was very difficult to meet people in Indonesia, because a lot of people there in Bali are there in like their own bubble, their own social kind of bubble, their Instagram bubble, that kind of stuff. Then since we came to Vietnam, we stayed in a hostel, which we hadn't really been doing. I'm sure it's a scene in Japan and Korea too, and you can definitely meet people doing that as well. But it was just not cost effective for us to do that because accommodation was more expensive. But we stayed in Vietnam, and like instantly we were meeting people, like, and it was really easy. A lot of people were in the same mindset, and it was very easy just to kind of break the ice with people because people were all doing similar things, and it was easy to get talking. And yeah, it was really good. Like, so it was like obviously staying in hostels, especially in Southeast Asia, is probably a huge benefactor for you being able to meet people and have a more social environment. So then you kind of come to the point like where you're engaging with locals, which is another thing that was non-existent in Indonesia because they were never in any bars, cafes, restaurants, anywhere. Japan, you were engaging when they're in the bars and they're a bit drunk, otherwise they're a bit standoffish. And in Europe, like as well, it was similar. They're just people that were like basically serving you. You weren't really like engaging with them that much. Apart from in Thessaloniki, we were able to talk to Greek people because it doesn't get them many tourists. So integrating into local community can be a bit difficult, but here in Vietnam it's been a lot easier than most places because they seem to be wanting you to be here and a bit more open, which is not what we've experienced in the other places as much. Ignore the music in the bar is here, but yeah. So like basically the other thing is where we met like people that we're now basically kind of friends with. It's like joining on group tours, group activities. So we did like the Hagan Loop, we did the Halong Bay tour, I did like the DMZ tour in Hue, and like I basically met people out of all these activities, like where I wasn't doing so in the other countries. It just wasn't happening for whatever reason. And yeah, so then you can utilize basically all of your like social medias, Instagrams, your Facebooks, WhatsApps, whatever, and you can connect with these people. Like, and a lot of people, especially in Southeast Asia, are all traveling for like quite a while for the most part, so you can meet these people all along your journey as well. So then you've kind of got like a whole group of travel friends which you didn't really have before. So this becomes a very easy thing to do, is like connecting with new people and meeting people. Here has been very easy and seamless, and it's been really good for a social environment. It's probably been the best place we've been, and everyone's just very open. Everyone's up to doing everything. It's definitely been the best place so far for that kind of stuff. Yeah, it can be a bit harder in the other places because there isn't as much of a backpacking community, so to speak, and I think that's maybe what holds it back. But these are just issues you're going to have to, if you're not very confident or not an outgoing or social person, you may struggle in these situations because a lot of these activities that they've done here are very full on. So you've got to kind of think about it like, how am I going to get out of my shell and actually talk to people? Maybe easier when you're away from home and you don't have the social pressures, but it's still something to think about. Like, so if you are solo traveling, make sure you're very open to doing everything and kind of say yes more than you say no to things, because that's where you meet people and you will get some really good experiences from doing that. And we both said like doing the Haijian Loop, and everyone knows in our group, was one of the best things we ever did, and we made some really good friends from it. Like, so yeah, I can recommend doing activities, because you're in like a bubble for like 4 or 5 days, like, and that's what's going on. Like, that's what you are, and nothing else really matters about other than what's going on. So yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. So yeah, moving on to like the next topic. So like budgeting on a solo travel thing can be a bit more difficult. Like, so some cost-effective travel tips, like, I don't know, maybe book. Everyone has these little tips that they can give you, but it comes down to very, very basic stuff, really. Book your flights relatively in advance if you know where you're going to be going, because that's always well known. Like, yeah, so about 3 months is like the sweet spot for flights, because like, yeah, we had to pay a bit more for coming from Bali to here because we didn't give enough basic notice like that we were coming here. But yeah, you can cut down. Flights are a major cost, but the way you can cut that down is by going over land borders, which we will be doing, like going into Cambodia and then into Thailand and even maybe into Malaysia and into Laos. So instead of flying, just do land borders, and you will actually save quite a lot of money, which kind of comes without saying, really. So yeah, budget accommodation options, like, so we're not on a really crazy budget, like we're able to kind of stay in relatively nice places. But what you can do, obviously, if you're in a couple, like staying in private rooms and hostels is only marginally more expensive than both of you getting a dorm room. So that's kind of what we're doing, like, and obviously like hotels and stuff in Japan and Europe was all Airbnbs, and we booked it quite far in advance. And also Japan, we booked quite far in advance because at the time we were booking, it was still in the COVID stuff. So we booked it like over nearly a year beforehand. So that's why we got it at an average around 50 euros a night. So I think if you left it a bit longer, it would have got a bit more expensive. But yeah, that's what it is like. But now we're staying in like hostels, like private rooms, and a mix of hotels, depending on the price. Like we're hopefully aiming for like 20 to 30 euros a night while we're in Southeast Asia, and that's going to be our budgeting. Like, but if you're like a solo traveler, the best way to do it is probably in dorms. You can get stuff for like 5, 6 euros, 7 euros a night. Some of them are actually pretty decent, and if you can just stick sleeping with other people, then yeah, you will save money. But if your budget's a bit bigger, you can stay in hotels in Southeast Asia, and you can stay in private rooms in hostels, because that gives you the best experience of both worlds. So yeah, next thing is like affordable transportation. So yeah, in Japan the buses are very affordable. The bullet trains are not affordable because they're pretty expensive, but you do need to go on the bullet train at least once. And yeah, another thing like you will need to do here, there's the train, which is a bit more expensive, but it's more comfortable, especially if you're quite tall. And then you've just got all of the sleeper buses. If you really want to save money, you can go as cheap as you want with them sleeper buses. You really can. And that's just a major benefit. You can get places here pretty cheaply. But yeah, if I'm staying on this thing for a long time, like, and I can't stretch out, like, it is an absolute pain in the ass. So we've been trying to like get like the VIP cabins, just paying a little bit more, basically just for me because I'm just too tall. But yeah, you can save on like transportation, like by getting like, yeah, local buses, the sleeper buses here, even like maybe like local trains, and don't fly in between each city because that's where your money will end up going. Next thing is like activities. Activities in Southeast Asia are pretty expensive. It's kind of nearly on par, really, with Western Europe for like day activities, day tours. It's quite similar pricing, like you're talking 50, 60 euros like for a day to go do a tour. Apart from like the Hajian Loop, we were paying, that was like an all-inclusive, like your accommodation, your food, and the tour. It was like all included, and I think it was like 210 euros, something like that each, which is really, really good. But other than that, the day tours and stuff that we've done are pretty much Western Europe prices, and yeah, it's kind of expensive. It takes a big chunk of your budget to do one of these activities. So if you're not on a big budget, you need to actually pick and choose like what you want to do, what's more important, which can be a bit of a pain because you want to do all these activities, like, because there's so many to do. But yeah, then you can look at like free activities. Obviously, like if you're in a beach area, you go to the beach, it's free. Unless you're in Bali, they charge you, I don't know, a couple of thousand rupiah to go down to the beach, in efforts that they will clean it up. But yeah, so free activities like going to the beach, walking around the city. You can basically pick the main attractions of the city and walk to them, and most of them are free or very, very low cost in Southeast Asia. So like yeah, free activities, like it's just like you basically want to be wandering around the city and just see some of the natural stuff, also some of the main sites that you can just see from the road, which is also pretty good. That's the same in Europe, it's the same thing everywhere. So yeah, free activities, like they're limited everywhere, depending on what you're into. Like obviously like hiking and all that kind of stuff, you can do that, but a lot of the main mountains and stuff here, you have to go with the guide, so you have to pay for it. So yeah, you are kind of limited, but there's a lot of low cost options for things to do and you won't run out of them. But if you want to do like some really good tours, you do have to pay like European prices for them, which is something that a lot of people probably don't expect. Also, like, yeah, the last topic is like, is this challenging? So challenging, I've seen like some people say that they think that like the traveling is challenging because you're constantly going between each place. You have to figure out a whole new like system, new language barriers, that kind of stuff. But just with a little bit of thought, a little bit of organization, you shouldn't really run into any issues. Obviously you've got like things you can't account for, like getting robbed or things going missing, losing stuff. Like that's just an absolute pain in the hole. But for the most part, yeah, you a little bit of organization, a little bit of research, like, and you're not going to run into any issues. Like, and I do recommend that at least once in your life you maybe do try this backpacker thing, at least maybe for 6 weeks or something, and just see how you get on, because then you may get addicted to it. Like, cause I can only feel myself getting kind of addicted to doing this because it's a lot of fun and you get to meet a lot of people. I'm just very social as it is, so I always like to meet loads of people. Don't really hold many reservations with meeting people. Like, I'm pretty open, and I think that's just the best way to be. Like, I'm always, since I've got here, it's just been so easy, and I really loved it. So yeah, the challenges, I think, Jay, just come from your own personal issues, maybe like insecurity, lack of confidence. Because once you're here, you don't really have a choice. Like, you have to figure stuff out, and that's something that you have to do. And once you go into a mode where you have to do something, then it's pretty easy to figure out. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on a few things there. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this and gave you a bit of insight to what's going on. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.